just saw Wonka in the theaters. I will say I was very pleasantly surprised at how good it was. The previews looked pretty good, but they definitely exceeded my expectations for the movie itself. Right off the bat, I will say, forget what you know about Willy Wonka and the two movies beforehand, because this is a completely different style and type of movie. Even his backstory is a little bit different. It actually talks about his mother and not his father at all. So that's very different from the movies. And just the incorporation of like maybe a dozen characters within the movie just really bring it to life. And I will say, it's not a movie. It's more of a musical than a movie. I mean, it's still a movie, but it's a musical type movie. So don't go in expecting to see, you know, just a normal, like, Willy Wonka type movie where there's just, like, a little bit of singing, like, you know, how, like, the kids fell down the candy chute, like, or, you know, Augustus getting sucked up the chute, or, you know, Charlie flying to the ceiling, that type of thing. Because this is basically his, like, upbringing and how he got started in the chocolate business. But there's music throughout, and actual, like, full-length type songs, which is really cool. It's just kind of weird and funky style music / musical. And the way they sing it a lot of the times is, it's not soundstage quality. They're not, you know, going in some kind of sound booth and playing that music from that sound booth. They're more singing as like me or you would in a car, or, you know, out in public or whatever, like on a stage with all that extra special effects from a sound booth. And it really brings the movie a lot more to life to me. In my opinion, it does, more than just, you know, a soundtrack type where people were just like ad-libbing and just moving their lips instead of actually singing. And it's not necessarily on key, perfect sounding, and it just hesitates a little bit here and there, like as he's singing. So it's definitely different, and I enjoyed it. The songs were good. I mean, obviously, since it's a musical type thing, it plays on with the theme and the story throughout the movie. And it's not just some kind of cool beat that they're trying to drum up. So I think people are really going to enjoy the movie once the word gets out that it's actually really good. I was so surprised. There's only like maybe 15 people in the theater. I'm surprised it wasn't packed, but I expect this to be like one of those box office surprises once the word gets out and people actually go and see it. Of course, not everybody likes a musical type thing. The humor was all throughout the movie. There's a lot of wittiness and just goofy type humor that you don't really see, but it makes you feel good and laugh and maybe giggle a little bit. It's not raunchy. It's not stupid humor. It's not like dad jokes. It's just kind of giddy, witty, fun type of humor that keeps you entertained throughout the movie. Of course, there's one Oompa Loompa. The Oompa Loompas really didn't play a factor, like a huge factor in this movie. They did play some, but it's more like just one main character. I don't know if I really want to spoil the movie for everybody, but basically Willy, at the beginning of the movie, is on this boat. He was at sea for 7 years. He goes to this, I forget what the town's called, but whatever this town is, where it's supposed to be like the best chocolate in the world. There's 3 competitors there. He tries to open up shop and make some money, but they basically squash his dreams. And since they have their little conglomerate there between the 3 of them, and they don't want him taking business away because his chocolate's actually a lot better than theirs. And the first night he was actually on this island, city, whatever it is, his money, he didn't have any money, so he basically had to sign this contract where he had to pay like 1 sovereign a day, but in the fine print, he ended up having to owe like $10,000 for that one night, so he got stuck basically being a slave to these two characters throughout the movie, which I will say they really do play well throughout the whole movie, and they're just as goofy as the rest of the movie. And the actors themselves, even though they might look a little goofy, I don't know what they look like in real life without their costumes and how they dressed up, but they really did play the part well. But they have like a dry cleaning type business that he gets stuck working for, and these other characters, other 5 characters that he joins forces with are also under the same contract, where they're just basically destitute to work for this dry cleaning laundromat type service for the rest of their lives to pay off their debt. But they got a room and board at this laundromat as they work off the debt. And then he sneaks out with this young girl, Noodle. That's her name, is Noodle. And he starts selling chocolate, gets some money, and then he brings the other people in as well. And he actually opens up a shop for, I don't know, like a half an hour, or something. And then people started getting sick because the laundromat got tipped off to it, and they poisoned his chocolate. So people actually set fire to the building. Then they locked him up. And then the 3 corrupt chocolatiers that own like different businesses, but you actually find out later that they're all together as one, but just under like 3 different brands in public. Actually paid off this cop that have him killed. But he makes a deal as he's going away on this boat. He gets his freedom, and then the other people destitute to that laundromat get their freedom as well. I'm trying to figure out how to say that. But anyway, he ends up coming back, and they all end up saving it and breaking into their big chocolate storage facility beneath this like church, like this monks. It's really goofy and hard to explain because there's so many different parts to this movie and things that you have to pay attention to with its goofiness. Because not that the story goes back and forth, but just to explain it without seeing it, it's actually kind of really hard. But they have this basically like secret vault beneath this like monastery where these monks are and stuff. Mr. Bean plays like the one high monk, and Peel's like the corrupt cop that's throughout the whole movie, and stomping like Willie because they pay him off, the chocolatiers do. But the monks are actually in on it as well a little bit. And there's just so many little different niches and goofiness to the movie. Like there's part of the zoo where he's trying to get milk from a giraffe, and the giraffe plays a part a couple times in the movie. Just different characters throughout the movie that are just really unexplainable without rambling on for like a 2-hour storyline, which is actually how long the movie is. I think if you see it, you're gonna be really grateful that you went and saw it in the theaters, because I think the theater really does enhance the singing and just like the presence and the sounds of the whole movie itself, as well as like the characters and the little nuances like the facial expressions that you get to see a lot more because it's on a bigger screen and not just in like, even if you had like a 50-inch, I don't think it would show up as much as a big screen would. As you see, like I'm actually very excited that I saw this movie compared to some of my other movie reviews. But just like all the characters, from like the cops to the chocolatiers, to the owners of the laundromat, to the people that were working the laundromat destitute, and then Willie, Noodle, the zookeeper and stuff like that, the monks, they all played like a vital role bringing this whole story together. And everybody was basically singing. Every character in the movie sung at some point in time, and their characters brought out a special goofiness within the singing. So you really have to pay attention to the songs, because it does bring to life the movie itself. Shit, I would definitely say this is like a 5-star on a 5 or a 10 out of 10 type movie. Kids are definitely going to enjoy it. It might be a little bit more, I don't want to say darker, but it's got that more of like a old English style, you know, 17th century type feel to it, more than like a 2000s. So, I mean, that's what I mean when I say like a darker thing. It's more like a slummy old European type town. But he does bring it to life, and like the colors that they do show, and even like him explaining his different candies that he makes throughout the movie, and how his process, how he makes the chocolate, and has his little like luggage suitcase, just brings his character to life. And again, it's completely different from what you thought Willy Wonka was before, so don't expect to go into this movie thinking you know him from previous movies or even the book. This is a completely different character, and it's really refreshing. And just even like the Oompa Loompa, I want to say it was like Hugh Jack or something like that. It was like, we played it, but just his little like quirkiness and his singing and stuff like that just really brings everything to life. And make sure you stay for the end credits. Don't just leave right away, because he does a little song, the Oompa Loompa does, just tying everything together. And you'll recognize a few little things, like a little bit of the music, like the whistling, and some little references, and even the candy, like how he made chocolate out of like flowers, mushrooms, trees, and stuff like that, and stuff that makes you float. Just some of those little things are brought back into this movie, which makes it kind of interesting when you get to point them out, or be able to pick them out. So pay attention throughout the whole movie on every little detail, or else you're going to miss something. And again, I would go see it again. Not that I will, but I would. And I do recommend people going to see it, because they will not be disappointed. I would take kids to see it, because I think it's very kid-friendly. I think adults will actually have fun. It would be a very good date movie. And if you just want to go and have a good time, and you don't mind a little bit of singing here or there, there's no reason why anybody wouldn't enjoy this movie. Whether it's like your die-hard dramas, action movies, you know, soap operas, like all the genres, sports movies, you're all going to get a, you know, you're going to come out of this movie feeling really good and glad you went. So I'm just going to leave it at that instead of rambling on. So go see Wonka. You will not be disappointed.